The table is set, the smell of the food wafts through the air, and for sim racers, the sound of engines begin to rumble. Southern National Motorsports Park will play host tonight to a race where prizes will be doled out and bragging rights will be earned. Let's all enjoy the food and the fun as we get ready to watch the Elite Performance Industries Thanksgiving eClassic presented by Team 126 Racing. And you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight is Devin Henry. Cameron Aubernon is on social media, and Ryan Bauer is producing while using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Well, Devin, I'm looking forward to this, not just because of this being a race where we're going to see guys try and fight for prizes, but also because I think these Legends cars are some of the most fun to drive and I think to watch try and duke it out here.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite tracks in iRacing. I always love that it's free as well. And then, of course, these Legends cars are one of the basis of grassroots sim racing, if you will, being one of those first cars that you oval racers get on when you join the iRacing platform. And I love events like this eClassic here because what it does is it takes some real-world racing intricacies and it puts it into the sim racing world as well. This is very similar to what we have in grassroots racing. We have a Thanksgiving Classic, $100 to the winner in this race here tonight for the Legends cars, and this is just our opener. We have a late model race tonight as well, and then we have our main late model race tomorrow. It feels really similar to what we have in the real world when we have these really big events, and now this is being translated into the sim world. I just love that feeling in the sim world.
Yeah, I'm getting the same vibes out of it, but a good place to have it as well. It's a tiny little track they're going to be competing on. Devin, tell us a little bit about Southern National Motorsports Park and what they're up against.
Well, we are here in North Carolina still, kind of the center of oval racing, if you will. And this track opened up back in 1993, and it is a short 4/10-mile track. The turns have just enough banking to bring that electricity into the corners and ride that momentum to the corner at 17 degrees. And you guys very well probably know the first champion at Southern National Motorsports Park, a young man by the name of Scott Riggs, whose son Lane is now racing in the NASCAR Truck Series. So this track has so much history. This is a track that Denny Hamlin went at and raced a lot, and just a place with a lot of history and a lot of great fun opportunities in iRacing, no matter what kind of car you're running here.
Now, as for tonight's race, we'll take a look at the race analysis. For the Legends, it'll be 40 laps, so it's a pretty short one, but they can't change the tires, they can't get any fast repairs, and it's going to be open setups. You're going to have to really be on top of it, and you've got to take care of your equipment. They'll get 3 green-white checkered attempts to try and make sure that it ends under green, but after that, they're just going to have to deal with it. And, of course, they will have cautions count for today's race. Caution laps will count, so they don't want to be sitting under caution too much like they are here, but let's go through the grid as we've got Hertzing with Zeller, Kyer with Matthews and Cottle on the next row with Benson on the outside. Kuhn will be followed by Millette with Tracy and Herzing. Johnson starts in 9th, and then John Willett will round out your top 10. Seawright will be followed by Lucas, Terzak, Jacobson, Pulse, Parker, Bowling, Giesbach, Ercolani, Retzlaff, Zerler, Wiggins, and Boniface. So they are just about ready to go, and there is the green flag right there as they are underway to try to decide who gets $100 tonight, and Matthews is going to lead them around. But look at Josh Cottle down to the inside, and already we've got a caution, Devin. They didn't even make it around the first lap.
Looks like that was Ryan Matthews with some trouble coming off of turn number 2. Got a little bit high, got some contact into them. So, quick reset here. Looks like maybe some rain at Southern National Motorsports Park right now. Looks like some server issues coming down, so they're gonna try to rewrap all this together again. I don't know. This is what I call the rain in the sim racing world, right?
Exactly, yeah. A bit like just a small rain delay. They've had a short shower, and we'll probably be back in a bit as they get this all sorted out. And then hopefully after just a brief moment, we'll be back underway once again. So stick around. There's more to come here in the Thanksgiving Classic. Welcome back, and apologies for the short delay here at Southern National Motorsports Park for the Elite Performance Industries Thanksgiving eClassics. The drivers are gritting up after we've corrected any of the issues. And just a quick run through in case you missed it the first time. It's going to be Kendrick Cryer on the inside of the front row. Ryan Matthews will start from second place. Josh Cottle will be in the third position, followed by Matthew Brinson in fourth spot. Ryan Kuhn begins off in fifth. The outside of the third row goes to Aiden Millette. Brendan Tracy will start from seventh, followed by Brandon A. Hertzing in eighth. And in row five, it's going to be Chris L. Johnson, and then rounding them off, Devin. John Willett will start from 10th.
James Seawright starts inside of row number 6 alongside Carson Lucas. Kyle Terzak will start in the 13th position. P14 is Josiah Jacobson-Pulse. The 15th position goes to Larson Parker. Jeremiah Bolding will start on the outside of row number 8. 17th place is Larry Deisbach. Mario Ercolny will be in the 18th position. Parker Rentzlaff will start in 19th. Petri Zeller will round out the top 20. In your final row, Casey Wiggins and Matthew Boniface.
All right, so they are lined up and ready, and you can forget the start of the last one. That has essentially been considered a false start for the event, and this is where it really begins. As they come around the backstretch, the iRacing pace car will soon release Cryer on to be the leader, and there's the green flag. It's not the greatest of starts, though. Getting to the line before him, Ryan Matthews goes around the long way, but he is not fast through the first corner, and it looks like we're a lot more clean this time coming through the first turn. Are they going to be able to complete this first lap without a caution? It looks like, Devin, they will.
There were 3 wide in the middle of the pack. One car went sideways. Caution will not fly for him, though, as Cryer will lead the way here in the 22-car field. You already see we have this giant beehive in the middle of the pack. It's going to be a battle for real estate to get to that bottom of the racetrack. Another car sideways. This is the 8 here. It's like John Olette got spun around as well. This will be a caution for the number 8 machine, and we'll restack him after 3 laps.
Yeah, he had just a little bit of a tip. It was another 3-wide situation. It was on the outside of James Seawright, and you'll see it here down into the corner. There's plenty of space for these tiny little cars to fan out, but everybody likes the bottom line for now. So he gets spun, thankfully doesn't really hit anything, and he's back rolling.
Yeah, these cars do not have a boatload of horsepower. This is what most drivers begin their racing careers in. So using the outside lane at any track, much less Southern National, is not really a viable option. You're going to see a fight for real estate every single lap to have that inside lane. And in fact, at Southern National in the real world, this is not an unusual combo. They actually race these Legends cars in the real world at Southern National. And in fact, 40 laps might seem like a short race in iRacing. Typically, when these cars race in real life at Southern National, it is a 25-lap race. We're getting almost double what they're typically going to get in the real world.
So they're on an enduro out here tonight.
Just about right.
Yeah. By the way, Willett and Seawright were giving end-of-line penalties for causing the caution. Drivers will see themselves facing that if they bring out the yellow. So you want to try and keep it clean, because even if you don't get spun out by it, you could find trouble trying to get back to the front. Ryan Matthews, with his early incident, has had to call it a day, sadly. So not sure we'll see him back out, since there's not much to fight for from here. Kendrick, once again, has control, and the green flag is out. It's a little bit of a better start, but he still has Cottle to his outside, and we get a caution right away. Ercolany, and I didn't quite see who else was involved in it, but it was on the front stretch.
Yeah, Ercolany gets turned almost immediately coming out of turn number 4 here. See him stack up nice and tight. Try to get back on the loud pedal, and he was not quickly on there, and someone comes around, tags the rear bumper.
That was actually Seawright who clipped him, and Mario, I'm guessing, will probably be sent to the back for being a part of that caution. But what happens to Seawright now is he's down in pit lane, and I wonder if he has actually been parked there, because I did see some rules. I'll have to double check here to see what the clarification is, but I do know they have said that they will park drivers if they find them to be at cause of too many incidents. So once I get that sorted out, I'll try and update the audience. We'll try and re-rack and get going once again. We had about a lap and a half of things going well, and then we can't seem to get it started now, Devin.
And an important note here is the fact that yellow flag laps are counting tonight, and Kendrick Cryer not happy with another quick caution, but at the very least for him, the laps will continue to dwindle on lower and lower and lower. So at the very least, cautions count for him, but he just wants to go racing because he had a tremendous start there and really blasted away from the field.
So they're once again double file. So let's see, I've dug up the rules here. And all cars involved in an initial incident will be sent to the rear with the EOL. Second at-fault incident will result in a disqualification handed out by the race director. There you go. So that might be C-Right already done for the day, essentially, as Kendrick is once again on the loud pedal. Last time we didn't even get hardly through the first corner. Let's see if we can get some clean racing going as they stay too wide pretty much all the way down through the field, all the way to the back, ducking to the inside. Ryan Kuhn trying to take that lead away, and it looks like he might actually have it this time.
Kuhn got tremendous position, trouble in the back. Josiah Jacobs and Pulse had another car go around. Those cars are demolished, but they were actually off the racing surface when they spun. They were down on the apron, so no caution thrown here.
Looks like Kendrick's going to slide in behind Ryan Kuhn, so he's given up the lead for now. That's the first time we've seen a different leader in this race. Josh Cottle back there in fourth, chasing Brennan Tracy, who's having a bit of connection problems with some blinking. We hop on board with Cryer in the second position. How long should he stay patient here before he tries to go back on the attack?
And this is an open setup specialty race, so everyone has a little bit different setup underneath these Legends cars, and that's going to allow them to set their car up for later in a run with those warm tires or sooner in a run. How balanced is your race car right now? What's it going to mean 5, 10, 20 laps down the road once these tires begin to wear off? Because obviously in a Legends car, there are no tire changes mid-race.
In the background, and actually on screen now, we saw some three-wide racing, and the one ducking underneath there was Parker Retzlaff, who is definitely showing why he is one of the top drivers on iRacing. So as he comes up to fifth, he already stretches away from that group and tries to catch these four, which have pulled themselves a distance of about a second.
Retzlaff started this race in 19th. Oh, three-car pileup here. Kyle Yurchek was one of the original guys who got tapped there, and three cars made their way quickly to the outside wall.
Yeah, looks like Larson Parker, and I also see Aiden Millette making a bit of the contact. Wonder if Aiden just kind of got collected in it. Yeah, looks like he just kind of found the car drifting up in front of him, and the 9 didn't have much of a place to go. So we've lost Ryan Matthews, we've lost James C-Wright. We've had another caution. I don't think any of those three were involved in any of the previous yellows, so they should just be sent to the back. So now Ryan Kuhn will be the one controlling on this latest restart. Cryer might have a good shot, though. We've seen on these starts, second place doesn't necessarily look like as much of a disadvantage as we've seen in some oval racing in the past, Evan.
No, not at all. They're really getting good launches in that outside lane, but after you get through 1 and 2, you're basically stuck in the water. If you can find a gap between the first and third place drivers when you get those good jumps and then slide in there on corner exit or maybe in the center of the corner, then that's going to give you an opportunity to put yourself in position to make a pass later on. But I don't know, it's just been difficult for these guys to really make any headway with how low horsepower these guys got on that outside lane.
So it looks like Larson Parker was given an EOL, but I don't see anybody else that was also sent to the back for that one. And I think we should be going green this next time by as they come out of 1 and 2 along the back stretch. Obviously no pit stops in this one, but you can see they do have separated pit stalls on the front and the back if they get a large field here. So some of the drivers will need to use that if they need to repair damage. Green flag is out in the meantime. It looks like Kendrick's going to try and challenge, but can't quite keep hold down below him. Brennan Tracy taking a little bit of a peek, but now he falls to a 3-wide situation behind him. And it's also going to involve what looks like Parker Retzlaff now up to 3rd already.
Started in 19th, and now the NASCAR Xfinity Series driver and the Pro eNASCAR Coca-Cola driver puts himself in the 3rd position. He would pocket $25 for the race for end right now, but you know he wants that cold hard $100 to win this race.
And we're already halfway through this thing, too, so it is whipping by pretty fast. Behind those top 3, we got a caution, actually. Someone hard into the wall and onto their lid. That's going to be Carson Lucas. And he tumbles down the steep banking here at Southern National after, I think, he ran into another car. This is going to start with what looks like Herzing in the 96, with Wiggins maybe having an involvement. There it is. That's Wiggins in the white machine that tipped the 96, and then unfortunately, Carson kind of just plowed into the action.
Absolutely nowhere to go for Carson Lucas. That is the most gut-wrenching feeling that you can get when you see that car just flying directly into your lane there. So he'll be done for the night. Herzing's probably going to have some significant damage. That was a very hard hit. And now the laps continue to tick away under caution. And also on top of this, hey, Joe, Parker Retzlaff is going to start 2nd on the inside lane. This right here, I mean, he passed 2 cars going down the back straightaway on the last restart. If he can do the same here, that's going to put that car in the lead.
So Herzing, amazingly, is staying out on track. I guess the car doesn't need repairs. Wiggins and he were sent to the back of the line for the incident. And we'll see if they can do anything to make their way forward in these precious few laps left. So only the top 5 will receive any prize money in this race. So that's kind of the goal here, is to at least reach those positions. And looks like we are going to go racing next time by as the lights extinguish on the pace car.
Yeah, $100 for first, 50 for second, 25 for third, $20 for fourth, and $15 for fifth. And in our limited late model feature coming up, that's almost doubled.
All right, so can Ryan Kuhn manage to bring home the $100 prize here at the top spot? Will Cryer get back there and deny him? Green flag is out. They're about dead even on the throttle, but coming down with the shorter line being on the bottom. Cryer just has no answer, but Retzlaff does. He's coming up into 2nd place.
And the yellow flag comes out. It's Herzing again with more issues, and that will bring us within 10 laps to go next time by.
Remember, they have 3 green-white checkers to try and decide this. Ironically, it was Herzing spinning in front of Wiggins and essentially took both of them out. And because of that, well, they both are basically DQ'd from this race, now having both been involved in 2 back-to-back incidents. So we've lost quite a few drivers in very little time here, so chances are good if you just keep it clean, maybe you will get one of those prizes.
Hey, sometimes that's what happens when you put a bulk load of money in front of people. They get a little bit desperate or maybe drive the car a little bit harder than they know how to. But this has left Ryan Kuhn still with an opportunity to blast away with the lead, but he's got Retzlaff next to him and Cryer, who led the early parts of this race, starting behind him. Josh Cottle right now riding in 4th, Brendan Tracy in 5th. Haven't talked a lot about them, but they are in the picture here to potentially get this victory in the $100 victory.
That was Jacobson Pulse, who just went by. He was getting a lap back. Yeah, if you are Ryan Kuhn, I mean, if you've been paying attention to Retzlaff, you got to be at least a little nervous here, Devin.
Oh, a lot of people in the service know that name, and they know what comes next.
What comes next is a green flag, and Retzlaff holding station around the outside as they swing it into turn 1. Can't quite get to the bottom. Cryer's there briefly. Now they get single file for the top 5. A little bit of side-by-side behind them, all the way down around 6th or 7th place. Oh, but we got a spin around that same spot. And I think that was Brendan Tracy. Yeah.
And now we're going to get into green-white checkered territory here in just a few more laps. So they're going to have 3 opportunities at that, but the worst part for Kuhn is that it's going to give Parker Retzlaff more and more opportunities to try to take some shots at him. Take a look here, because I think we have another Legends car rolling down the track, barrel rolling. Take a look at that blue and white car in the center of your screen. It just taps the car in front of them, and it unsettles the rear end of the car. And it leads to a brick wall of Legends cars, and one guy almost there he is on his roof. Not good for him, but still entertaining to watch.
Not at all. And Brendan Tracy, with him just kind of spinning on his own volition back there, has been given that EOL penalty for this one. But a lot of cars got collected, and I fear that they may not have the faculties to carry on. Unfortunately, just too much damage. I think we should be able to restart before we get to green white checkers here, but next caution, if we get another, is going to end it. However, if we manage to get to the white flag lap, that there will not be a caution from there. So keep an eye out for that 1 to go signal. As soon as they cross the line for that, then it is a race to the finish line no matter what happens, kind of old school NASCAR style. Ryan Kuhn, once again, has done well on the restarts, well enough that he actually even got the lead on one of them away from Cryer. Will he be able to avoid suffering the same fate? Green flag will tell. As we come back with 2 to go, it's a natural green-white checkers here. And around turns 1 and 2, Retzlaff suddenly finds Kendrick Cryer just beneath him, trying to get that second place back. It's a higher prize pool for him. Can we get to the white flag as they come down and across? Yes, we can. It is now everybody for themselves to try and get to the finish, but Ryan's got a nice handy lead. Oh, a big bobble for Retzlaff, and everybody behind him, unfortunately, having to dodge and avoid a little bit more of an incident behind, but it is Ryan Kuhn who takes the victory of the first race of the night.
He loved everything that was going on in that rear view mirror, and just a lot of clutch restarts there for Kuhn, and that's going to pocket him $100 here tonight. In the Legends portion, there's still 2 more races this weekend in the Elite Thanksgiving eClassic, and he has already got $100.
There we go. Our top 3 on the front stretch of Kuhn, Cryer, and Cottle moved up after the problems for Parker Retzlaff. Man, that's a real shame considering how hard he fought his way up through the field. Here is your finishing results. As I mentioned, Ryan Kuhn, Kendrick Cryer, and Josh Cottle, your top 3. From there, Aiden Millette managed to finish 4th. Kyle Terzak, 13th to 5th. Give that man a pat on the back, as well as I think it's $15. He can go out to eat tonight. As Matthew Brenson wound up 6th. John Willett was 7th, and Chris Johnson P8. After that, it's Brendan Tracy in 9th, and Larry Diesbach in 10th. Devin?
Retzlaff brings it home in 11th, Parker in 12th. That's not reversed. That guy's last name is Parker. Bowling ends up in 13th. First car 1 lap down. Jacobson pulls in 14th. Boniface 15th. Irkolani in 16th. Zeller 17th. Herzing in 18th, Wiggins in P19. Lucas brings us home the rest of the top 20. Seawright 21st, and Matthew rounds out our 22-car field.
Looks like we do have Ryan Kuhn ready to talk to us from Victory Lane. And as we pull him in, Ryan, congratulations, but you had to make some passes to get there. And one of those restarts looked like that wound up being critical as you made the overtake within very quickly of the green.
Yeah, car was bad fast tonight. Parker messaged me the other night, told me he wanted to run this race, and me and him worked together, and he was doing a really good job there. It's unfortunate that he got a little incident there at the end of the race, but car was insane. That car was so good, such a great short run car, long run car. The car had everything I needed to do to put it anywhere.
Well, and speaking of Parker, we saw him coming up through the field. Were you aware of the charge he was making, and did that make you nervous when he showed up in your mirror?
I got me a little nervous, but he was really fast all night long. Even when we tested, he was matching lap times with me, and he's such a great driver, and he'll be a threat to win the next 2 tonight and tomorrow as well. So glad to be working with him, and hopefully we can continue the success.
Well, again, congratulations, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again more later down the line.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Ryan Kuhn, your winner for the Legends cars. But up next, I believe Devin has caught up with second place Kendrick Cryer.
Yeah, Kendrick Cryer brings it home in the second position. He's going to pocket himself $50. But Kendrick, what else did you need to pocket that $100 and try to get around Ryan Kuhn?
I think a little bit more short run speed. We were a little tight. Actually made the last restart, made it turn a little bit better, and was able to enter the corner a little bit better and get underneath Retzlaff and stay underneath them and get around them and able to secure P2. I'm still really happy about it. I mean, I don't race legend cars very much, and it was a pretty entertaining race for sure.
Yeah, still able to take home $50. Who do you have to thank for winding up on the podium and grabbing some money here in our first of 3 races this weekend.
Oh yeah, I gotta thank Chris Johnson at EHP Racing, Austin Edwards, Moonlight Speed Concepts, Derek Rice, Jordan Spoon. I want to thank Elite Performance putting this race on. It's pretty cool deal. It's hopefully next time they run this event should be another fun event when they put this on next year, maybe.
Well, Kendrick, congratulations on the second place finish. Best of luck here the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Kendrick Cryer, our second place finisher tonight. And then our third place finishers with Joe Peak, Josh Cottle.
Josh, excellent job there, up to third, but I'm sure on that last restart, probably weren't expecting to wind up there. What were your thoughts on that last little burst through?
I don't know. Barbecue built me a good set, Dustin Mombercat, and it was meant for the long run, and I was just hanging on because I'm not really good in these cars, so I was just hanging on for dear life there, and luckily made my way through.
Hanging on honestly seemed to be the call for the night. A lot of drivers fell victim to some incidents where you kind of trying to take care and try to leave a little on the table so that you could have some space for those sorts of things.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to wreck anybody in this, but I just want to have a clean car for the finish because you never know what's going to happen. But I'm just glad we finished P3 with a very clean car.
Well, you've got a Jackson and a Lincoln in your pocket, and I guess it's a nice dinner that you can go and enjoy. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you some more.
Thank you.
That was Josh Cottle there, taking third for the Legends tonight of the Thanksgiving eClassic. Elite Performance Industries, of course, bringing us 3 races over the course of the weekend. We're heading over, of course, to the late models now. And the drivers are actually already warming up over there. So we're looking forward to picking up on that, checking to see if we're taking a quick break. And yes, we're going to just dip off for a second, but we'll be back with tonight's feature. And then don't forget, more tomorrow night as well. Welcome back to Southern National Motorsports Park. We are here for the Elite Performance Industries Thanksgiving eClassic presented by Team 126 Racing. I'm Joe Peak. With me is Devin Henry, and we are now getting ready, of course, for the limited late models here to take place in just a moment. And Devin, why don't you run us through the race analysis for this second race?
Very similar to what we just saw with the Legends cars, except we are going to be going 75 laps here in this limited late model feature. And just like last time, no fast repairs, no tire changes, an open setup for anyone to do whatever they want to that race car, and 3 maximum attempts at a green and white checkered finish. And we talked about how last time in the last race it was 40 laps. They typically run like 25, 30 in the real world. Well, they also run limited late models at the real world Southern National Motorsports Park, typically between 75 and 100 laps. So we are right around the regular range, or I guess between 50 and 100 sometimes with the limited late model. So we're right in the middle of what they actually run in the real world here at Southern National Motorsports Park.
Indeed. Bigger cars, heavier cars, and one of the biggest differences, I think, I wonder if it'll make a difference in how many cautions we see tonight, Devin, is while they do have fenders on the Legends machines, I've always kind of thought that they race a little bit like miniature open wheelers, the way that you can get tangled up and clip tires against each other. Do you think all the fenders on these things will make for a little bit more rough and tumble, but green flag racing?
Potentially, because I think with these cars as well, the way that you can bump, we saw in that Legends cars race where one driver just bumped the guy in front of him, and they have those flat bumpers on there, and it actually upset the car who did the bumping as opposed to the car who got bumped. And in these cars, you can really blitz these corners on quarter entry, really attack them, especially for such a short race like 75 laps. You're going to end up playing a little bit of bumper tag, and just that little bit of a bump on a rear bumper of these limited late models can send one of those cars around. So there's still a chance that if these guys have different philosophies and braking zones, we could still see some roughing up and some spins here in the center of the corners again.
And while we do have a few drivers that have jumped over and will be racing in both of the races, there are some different faces. Do you think there's anything to be garnered from being a part of that earlier event? Or were any of them able to take notes that are relevant here? Or is this just a complete reset?
World or in the sim world, maybe not both at the same time, but laps are laps. Being able to have those reps and be comfortable with the racetrack that you are driving on means something. Now, that last race didn't have a long green flag spurt though too, so that could also be a problem because you're not going to have that green flag mentality coming into this race. But I always think that just having laps, clocking laps, doesn't matter the car, it's always important to have those laps underneath you. And in an event like this where you're able to go back to back, I think that means something.
So we should be going up to the grid here in a little bit of time, but they've got the last of the warm-up to complete, and then we'll be on our way. Still an evening race here, although I will say for it being a night race, this is actually pretty warm temperatures out on the track itself. 90 Fahrenheit with the sun down. Must have been really pounding the pavement all day.
It has been a summer day in November, and of course, the different kinds of track temperature that you're going to have to deal with, that can really change how these limited late models are going to want to drive. Obviously, the cooler the track temperature, the more grip that you're going to have. And already you want to go out and blitz and attack these corners. You're going to be able to do that still, but getting back on the throttle, probably the most important part of this racetrack is getting on the throttle and bursting off the corners to make that run and potentially make the pass on the guy in front of you. The hotter the track temperature, the more difficult it is to really put the throttle back to the floor.
Well, it looks like they have gridded up. Let's go through our starting order today. Aaron Wisniewski is on the pole. Matthew Brinson on his outside. Ryan Kuhn, who won last time, and Brandon Hertzing.
Just outside the top 10, starting P11, this is John Quillette. James Seawright, who was in our last race, will be in the 12th position. Eric Alani will be in P13. Matthews in P14. Gibson will round out the top 15. Lucas on the outside of row number 8. P17 will be Doria. Cottle will start off in the our field. I was right for 20.
Only 18 out here today, as they have already finished pace lap number 1 and are heading around for the last one and will be released here. So getting a little bit more serious now, not just because the heavier cars and the higher speeds, but as you heard Devin mention earlier, it's $175 to the winner. Get yourself a little bit of kit for your sim rig with that money. And of course, second getting 85, third 60, fourth 50, and even fifth place still gets $40, which is nothing that you would pass up, I think, in typical conditions, as the green flag is out and coming off the line. Doesn't look like it's so good for the 114, so challenging him from the high side. The 15 tries to carry the speed. They'll stay wheel to wheel here, coming to 3 and 4.
Again, though, even in these cars, so difficult to make that outside lane viable. Brinson, though, is doing what he can to continue to fight, though. You just don't want to get stuck with that train on the inside of you and end up losing a bulk load of spots. Now Kuhn vies for that second position.
Down into 3 and 4 once again, as Wisniewski leads the field. Battle for second rages on. Brinson around the outside as the caution comes out, and it is Hertzing who is involved in this one. He got beat around quite a bit at the end of the last race, but I think he was more of a victim. I think the 8 starting this one, John Willett. Let's take a look at it.
Trouble in front of him. He tries to check up. He gets a little punt from behind. That blue 96 car has not had himself a very fun race weekend so far tonight. And you see the action in front of him too wide. The 8 car tries to jump in there. They make a little bit of contact. A tremendous save. And the 51 car does not see Herzig slowing up in time, and then he gets booted down the front straightaway.
Interesting. So they gave Vinoratsky an EOL for that one. He was the one turned, and Willett is also going to be given that EOL, and Hertzing, all 3 of them. And it looks like actually Vinoratsky and the 8 had a second incident after the yellow came out. And I don't think it was anything intentional, but they did have a coming together and spun again after we had the initial problem there from Hertzing stopped on the inside. So that was a bit of a strange one, and have 3 different cars being told to start at the back of the field. We did get some good racing in there. We're already on lap 6.
And remember, these laps count under caution, so you want to try to get back to green flag racing because you don't want to run out of time. 75 laps is still a bit of a sprint, and $175 is on the line to win this race. Everyone in the top 5 will get at least $40 out of this, but you want to try to get everything that you can to get up front, try to win that $175.
Did look like the high line might be a little bit better here in the late models. Brinson held on pretty well there through 1 and 2. So let's see what he learns. If maybe he can stretch it a little farther, maybe attack all the way down into 3. As the pace car is in. Oh, it's a very early go there from Wisniewski. He was not sitting around, and that actually got him the lead and a single file between himself and P2 by turn 1.
Yeah, Brinson might have actually liked that. It allowed him to slither in the line as one car goes sideways down the back straight, and that will bring out our second caution, the 42 of Duria. Looks like he might have got bumped from behind as well, I think, down the back straightaway, and that late model is destroyed.
Ooh, and I got bad news for fans of John Willett. It was him that made the bump there, you see, in the blue and black number 8. So I suspect that he might find himself parked if that is both put on him for the last one and on this one. We'll find out soon enough if he is suddenly coming down into pit lane. And there you saw the incident there on the backstretch, winding up with Robert facing the side of the road. He's actually coming into pit lane to try and get a little bit of repairs. You're allowed to do that. You just don't have any tires. Actually, I'm wondering, is there smoke coming out of the 42?
Yeah, potentially. He had a pretty significant amount of damage on that front end. Yeah, there's a little bit of smoke there. That car is very beat up. I do not see that car. If you go on pit road here, I'm not sure the iRacing officials are going to allow you to leave the pit stall there. I think he's probably got some significant engine damage. We're about to go back green.
Yeah, and both Willett and Duria have been sent to the back of the line, but I do not see a black flag disqualifying Willett as the green flag comes out, and Wisniewski doesn't get as big of a jump this time. Brinson was on top of it. He's going to be able to hold side by side, but so will Ryan Kuhn down below, denying an opportunity for the 15 to find an opening and escape. Oh, but we got a spinning car behind them.
Caution flag will fly once again, and for the third time tonight with 3 cautions. This time P.D. Zeller, the victim of a little bit of an accordion effect, as these drivers were all just kind of bunched up. It all started at the very beginning of the field, and watch that orange 00 car at the top of the field. Oh, this time actually it's a little bit of a tip from the car on the inside of him.
Yeah, I think there was some unfortunate net code as well. A little bit of ghost contact that sent him around. We're going to watch it from on board because I don't think they actually touched on our screens here. Let's watch. This is a perfect angle for it. Yeah, I'd say that was just the nature of internet racing rearing its ugly head from time to time. So I wouldn't put it on them as much, but maybe a harsh lesson here, Devin, that you need to give a little space tonight.
Yeah, rubbing fenders here doesn't matter if it's going to be the net code or not. You cannot rub fenders with these cars if you're not essentially door to door going straight, because all that's going to happen is one car is going to be going sideways immediately. These cars do not like side by side contact, so doesn't matter if it's legit contact or not. They do not like even imaginary rubbing doors.
Also, Scott Lamp got an EOL, but Petey did not, although he is starting pretty much at the back anyway, so wonder if they figured no need, he's already there. All right, they've also been getting a little bit of chatter over the radio from race control to clean this up. They want to see some green flag racing, and we do too, as we go back under green now. And once again, it's a good jump down to the bottom from Brinson to cover himself off. Ryan Kuhn facing off with Cryer, as those two are finding a repeat of the last round, except not for the lead this time. That is a battle for third between the pair of them, and unfortunately for the 72, he's got no place to get to the bottom, but the 15 loses that bottom spot to the 66.
Kuhn got Brinson all jacked up on entry of turn number 1. That allows Kreider to take away that second position. His sights are set now for the lead as Parker Renslaff follows him through as well for the third position.
Renslaff has got himself some clean air now. Is this going to be bad news? Looks like Brinson's still unable to find the bottom line, as Ryan Kuhn will stick to that yellow line around the lower side of the racetrack. Now he's going to have Cameron Ruggles underneath him as we ride on board with Wisniewski, with Cryer filling up his mirrors, and Renslaff not far behind. They're starting to break away. It's a couple car lengths down to Kuhn.
And Cryer playing down a great pace right now, just trying to stay up on the rear bumper of Wininski. And on board here with Parker Renslaff, just following aboard, because remember, these are all open setups. This might be a long green flag run. These cars can really change dramatically throughout a run. Who has their cars set up right as Cryer got way out of shape and into the wall down the back straightaway. He will lose second and third, and luckily finds a spot to slide into.
Leaves a little bit of paint out there, but he keeps it rolling. Renslaff now into P2, and just Wisniewski and himself to try and sort this out. Last time Parker got to P2, though, it didn't go his way as he wound up in an accident on the final restart, but we're not even close to the finish. This is only lap 24 as he starts to size up the 114.
51 laps to go this time by, and yes, Renslaff will be sizing him up. The part-time NASCAR Xfinity Series driver for Our Motorsports, as well as a Coca-Cola Series driver as well. Renslaff knows how to get it done, not just in the real world, but in the sim world as well.
And does look like Cryer is getting back on his horse, as he's got Kuhn in front of him, and the two of them are beginning to catch back up to the top two. And in fact, that's now the biggest breakaway. Fourth away from fifth. Cameron Ruggles can't seem to keep pace now that we're starting to see some laps put on these tires.
And Cryer very fortunate in that gray machine in the fourth position, because I thought that was going to be enough significant contact to potentially knock him out of the race. He's still in a money spot. It'd be $50 for him to finish in this spot, in the fourth spot that he's in right now, but you know that he had that little bit of a glimpse of taking the lead in that $175. You know that he wants to continue to battle. How about this battle here? Brinson now under attack from Ruggles. This is the final pace spot.
That's actually Brinson on the attack on Ruggles. He's gotten below him but hasn't cleared him fully yet. It's been a few laps of side by side, but the 52 has to give way. Brinson is now up into that pocket change position, I guess you could say, up there in 5th spot. There's our leaders once again, with Wisniewski, Retzlaff, Kuhn, and Cryer, the top 4. I think we can definitely say the 72 has caught back up to the lead.
$40 for 5th, $50 for 4th, $60 for 3rd, $85 for 2nd, and then give an extra $90 for a grand total of $175 to win this race. You have the top 4 all spread out, and Brinson has been able to recover. To your point, Joe, a good job for him recovering, getting back into that 5th position. But boys, there are a mighty gap between himself and Cryer in that 4th position.
Yeah, I wonder what hurt him so badly, because we didn't see him hit the wall like we did Cryer. Just was out of the racing line, and yet he lost a ton of time. Speaking of Cryer, actually really impressed that he didn't damage the car enough that he's been able to keep pace as well as he does here, up with the top group. This is the longest green flag run we've seen all night between either of the 2 races, and it is starting to really separate the fast from the merely 1 lap quick.
And you really get to see in these straightaways with this camera angle just how short these straightaways are, because they come up out of the corner so late. Listen in, full throttle, and almost immediately you're already diving back into the corner. Then you get off the throttle, so you don't have very much straightaway time. So the amount of throttle that you grab coming out of the corner is so vital to set up that pass coming into the next corner. You just do not have very much time to accelerate and then try to get to someone's inside in the corner, because at this rate, with this money and this talent of a field, you cannot expect someone to end up making a mistake. You got to go out and take that money literally away yourself.
Grab it with both hands. The other thing that strikes me about this circuit is not just the short straightaways. There's a lot of banking here. This is a pretty steeply banked 0.4 of a mile track.
Yeah, exactly, because this here is a 17-degree bank track. No, that's not a lot when you compare it to Daytona, but it is a lot when you compare it to, say, a Martinsville maybe, which is actually bigger, longer in length than this track right here. So you have the ability to utilize the banking. I think that's in part why that outside lane can work occasionally, but work can mean very different things. You're not going to execute a pass on the outside, but you might be able to defend on the outside. Here's Retzlaff, wind that inside lane. Can Wisniewski defend on that outside?
We'll have to see. Still got a little bit of a nose ahead, but he's losing ground bit by bit, lap by lap now. And behind him, Ryan Kuhn could also make life worse by closing up an opportunity to get to the bottom. It opens up briefly, but it's barely wide enough for the car, and it closes again once they accordion together into the corners. Oh, does he have a good shot? Looks like the 72 is going to try and see if he can keep him trapped on that outside line, and he does for the time being. Does he cover it off now that he's on the front stretch? No, he can't. The 72 has a good shot at getting into second now. Oh, and he's going to just about bump doors.
Wisniewski trying to pinch in full damage control mode, trying to get back to that inside lane. Kuhn, though, has fantastic positioning here on the 114, so he's not going to allow that car to get his rear end in front of the nose of the 72 car. And this is absolutely gorgeous in the rear view mirror. Parker Retzlaff, he loves what he is seeing right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long can these guys fool around like this, though?
Because it's too late. It's too late. Look at him checking out right now.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, this has been disaster if you're Kendrick Cryer, because he can't do anything about it. Both lanes are plugged up. Surely a third lane's not going to be quicker. So I don't know what he does in this situation other than hope and maybe try and give a little bump draft help for Ryan Kuhn out of some of the corners and say, hurry up, let's go, let's get by.
At this rate, you are just waiting for Wisniewski to essentially lose that right front tire, because he has to put so much pressure on that tire to maintain that speed on the outside lane. You see there, he entered about an entire car width too high, and that will finally give Kuhn the second position. And again, full damage control mode for the 114, but I think he's lost that right front tire. He cannot defend anymore.
Yeah, now he is down into fourth and outside of the podium. But this has been fantastic for Brinson. All that side-by-side racing has caught him up entirely. He already was starting to run them down somewhat, but this basically did the rest of the work for him as we ride on board with the 15.
Brinson with the chance to tack on another $10 if the race were to end right now. he would win $40, the last money-paying position in this race. If he can take away that 4th position from Wisniewski, he would take $50 home instead.
Let's not forget, there's also the accumulation factor of this money too. Kuhn won last round. That's $100. 85. That's more than first in this race by itself. $185 right there for Kendrick Cryer if he can get into second. But he's got to pass by Kuhn if he's going to do it. No, excuse me. Kuhn would have $185 if he finished where he is. But these guys have not settled things. 26 laps to go. There's still a third of the race left.
Yeah, still work to be done. 25 laps to go, 24 this time, and the caution comes out, and this is going to change everything.
Ryan Matthews sent around by James Seawright, unfortunately. The 18 car is going to have a little bit of contact, and I think that did end the night for Matthews because he towed the car immediately, and it looks like he is out of the session. So let's take a look at it here from our TV cams. Blinking doesn't help, that's for sure. Oh, wow. Absolutely hooked him. And man, he escaped at just the right time. Not sure who that was about inches away from T-boning that car. But Seawright has indeed been given an end-of-line penalty for being involved in that incident, despite starting with 18 cars. We are down to 11. Attrition has been a bit harsh in this one.
Absolutely, and that's what happens sometimes when you put a significant amount of money, like $175, in front of a group of drivers, and now you're going to see the desperation rise. We're only going to have about 20 laps to go when we go back green. We saw the end of that Legends race when I wouldn't be surprised if we get something similar here going back green.
And we're doing that right now. Ryan Kuhn around the outside. Can he get to the bottom, or is he going to have to fight his way around the hard way? He will manage to find an opening. Retzlaff still leads, though, and behind him, Cryer now looking for third over the 114 of Wisniewski, who probably wants a little bit of revenge for all the spots he lost earlier. He can get back down into fourth, covers the 15 immediately so that he doesn't get sent backwards yet again.
Wisniewski loving that because he might have lost even more positions. He's able to tuck in safely into fourth and hopefully start defending those positions because Ruggles and Brinson are going to be on that rear bumper oh so quickly. Now the question becomes for Kuhn, was he actually saving tires when he was behind Parker and Retzlaff, or was he trying to blitz and try to catch that number 2 machine when we were under what was the longest green flag run of our 2 races combined so far tonight? If Kuhn was able to save some tire, maybe he's going to be able to run down Retzlaff, but staying with them and making it past, 2 very different things.
It's going to be the $175 question tonight. Who's got the better tires by the end of this race? It actually looks pretty good for Kuhn for the time being. He's not letting Parker get away quite yet. We're seeing a little bit of battling farther towards the back of the field. I see the 88 of Lucas with Ruggles to his outside. This is outside the points paying positions, I think around 6th and 7th. And that's also Josh Cottle in there in the 13.
Yeah, you do not want this right now. Oh, he jacked him up literally, and that will bring out a caution.
I know you were referring to something else, but yeah, you genuinely don't want this right now when your car is suddenly lifted over the hood of another.
That was not what I was referring to. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So what timing for our onboard cam? Suddenly just a face full of late model. And that's the second time we've seen that tonight, where you hook another driver. Just, I don't know if that's lack of awareness, Devin, or just hard racing getting a little too hard.
And sometimes it can just be as simple as 2 guys disagreeing with where their corner exit is when they're supposed to be floating up towards the wall, especially on old tires and trying to get back on the throttle. And the point I was going to get at there was what you don't want to happen is for a thick battle for 6 to happen. That's exactly what was going on. Guys, stop. Single file. We're losing the money. The money is driving away from us right now. Stop racing each other. But racers will be racers, right? If you're in 7th, you think that you're going to catch that guy in 5th better than the guy in front of you. So you try to pass him, and unfortunately, that was the result.
Got to think a little less like a racing driver, a little bit more like a bank robber here. It's all about trying to make sure you get that money. Also, looks like both Lucas and Ruggles were given EOLs for the incident, so they've now been sent to the back of our 11 remaining cars. Green flag is out on lap 63, lap 64 actually, only 12 laps to go. And once again, planned almost to perfection between Retzlaff and Kuhn, getting to the bottom side of the racetrack. It's now going to be side by side between Cryer, Wisniewski, Brinson. Oh, and a lot of door banging behind them. That's Cottle, who nearly loses the car, but gets it back together. Now it's going to be decided between Wisniewski and Brinson. This is for fourth.
And Wisniewski's likely going to lose that spot. He did such a good job holding on to it on the last restart, but now he will fall into the final money-paying spot of this race, and he's going to be really, really hassled by Cottle, who's going to want to take that fifth position. On board here, though, the race for the win, coming to 9 laps to go. Ryan Kuhn running a little bit lower than Retzlaff, but does he have the speed to catch and pass that 2 car?
Remember, Kuhn said that Retzlaff helped him out with that setup, and that helped him get the win. Is it worth $175, that setup? Do you let your teammate have it there? Or is he going to try and take that away? There is now only 7 laps to go. 8 laps to go, excuse me.
Parker's biggest offense is, hey, last race, I got no money. I want the whole 175 right now. You can take whatever you want in the last race in second place. I'm going to come out here and lead these final 7 laps.
Cryer also feeling denied that win last time, is no doubt going to be a little bit more aggressive. How much does he try and get underneath Ryan Kuhn? They have the green-white checkers as well, so they can maybe take some chances there at the end if they are okay with going to overtime, and it can avoid getting caught out by the EOL penalties for causing cautions. We're down to 6. It's going to be 5 here next time across the line. Opportunities are slipping through their fingers, and Ryan's got to do something.
And Wisniewski has done a good job playing defense on Cottle, and then they have really created a gap between themselves and Seawright. Top 6 beginning to step away, but can Cottle step into that $40 fifth place position? Got to get around with Wisniewski at some point, but hasn't been able to do so yet.
Yeah, he's close enough that I think it's possible. Behind him, he's got a bit of a gap to Seawright, so he's sitting pretty. He has the ability to attack without having to worry about getting cost to spot behind him as well. We're down now to 3 laps to go.
Retzlaff looked like he got out of shape coming out of 4, lost a little bit of time, and now Cryer is pounding the rear bumper of Kuhn. He wants that extra money. Right now, he would take home $60 for third. He wants the $85 for second. Right now, Retzlaff still holds on to that $175 payday for the lead.
Last lap to see a caution here. If they get to that white flag, that's it. It's everybody for themselves once again. And there is the white flag waved by Barney. 1 to go. Retzlaff trying to redeem himself after coming so close to getting anything from last round and falling short by half a lap. Down to the inside of 3 and 4. He is clear. Parker Retzlaff wins for the limited late models here in the Thanksgiving's eClassic.
He did everything that he needed to do, and especially qualifying better, I think, helped him out in the 75-lap feature. But that was a flawless run, did everything that he needed to do, and he'll take home a crisp $175 from Southern National Motorsports Park.
Fantastic stuff. He celebrates, gives Kuhn a little thanks, bud, as those two will get quite a bit of money tonight, frankly. That's a pretty big prize pool that they've collected here, and it's not done yet, as they'll have another race tomorrow night. We'll let them celebrate here for a little bit before we have a chat with them, as I think they're going to get dueling burnouts going. Yes, they are. Almost before they wind up getting turned off to the side. Why don't we go through our results? As we mentioned, Retzlaff was your winner. Ryan Kuhn, who won in the Legends, couldn't repeat as 1 shy. Still a nice finish there on the podium in second. Kendrick Cryer was third, still looking for that win, as he's been on both of the podiums. Matthew Brinson was fourth, and our pole sitter Wisniewski only finished fifth, but he still gets $40 for that one. Josh Cottle was P6, up from 18th. Nicely done, sir. James Seawright was 7th, and Cameron Ruggles in 8th. Brandon Hertzing wound up 9th today, with Gibson rounding out your top 10.
And Lucas was the last car on the lead lap. Matthews, Ekarani, Lamp, Vinorasti, Zeller, Golette, and Duria round out the 18-car field in the EPI Thanksgiving Classic for the limited late models.
It does look like we do have Parker ready to talk to us about that victory here today. So We've pulled Parker up into the booth, and Parker, you came about half a lap short of getting anything in your pocket with that Legends race. Do you feel like you redeemed yourself with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I redeemed myself. It just, sucks that I get the 1-2 for RKM in the first race in the Legend race like we should have. But I'm glad we got it done in the second one. And I got to thank Ryan and RKM Setup Shop and Funkaway Ponzi, everyone who puts any work into this. And I know my parents are watching, so thank you to them for all they do. But I feel like we redeemed ourselves definitely. But we'll build on tomorrow.
And we were kind of half teasing up in the booth that with you, Ryan, accrediting you with the setup for the Legends. Was there any mention coming late in the race? Hey, man, I got you that last win. I get this one.
I mean, no, me and Ryan are, I mean, we're teammates and we work together for this race, but I mean, we both still want to win the race. It was just, he was a little bit more tight than I was late in the race. I think I just built free into the car, just pushing so hard to pass Aaron early. So I think that helped me a little bit, but I definitely had my mistakes that I need to clean up getting back into these type of cars.
One more before the Thanksgiving eClassic is over tomorrow night. Are you going to be back to try and go for even more cash?
Yeah, we'll be back with another 2 RKM cars that are trying to start on the front row and win the race.
Great stuff. Congratulations, Parker. That was a well-driven race.
Thank you.
Parker Retzlaff with the victory here in the limited late models. And now I believe Devin has caught up with Ryan Kuhn, who followed him home.
Yeah, Ryan's had himself a pretty good payday. In fact, if you add up the totals now, he actually still has more money than Parker has won so far in this weekend's eClassic. But Ryan, what else did you need there at the end to try to get Parker and sweep Saturday night?
I just killed my front tires early on trying to pass Aaron, and he put up a really heck of a battle fighting. He was fighting for his life. I was watching him, but yeah, I just need a little more center rotation. Parker kind of saved his stuff a little better than I did, and I killed my fronts, and he just had a lot more turn than me. So yeah, we'll get him tomorrow night. Parker did a great job. He's doing one heck of a job. He's been fast all day, and we'll see if we can get him tomorrow.
They got a chance for both of you guys to win a little bit more money tomorrow. But how does these first two nights, obviously tomorrow night is the late models, a completely different setup, but how do these two nights and being able to at least put on racing atmosphere, money race kind of laps translate to what you guys are going to do tomorrow?
It's different in every single car. We went out in the legend, won the legend race, and then I come into practice and in this session, I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I kept overdriving the corners, and I'm like, oh, it ain't no legend car. So all the three cars drive completely different, and gotta have three completely different driving styles. That's why I think Parker struggled a little bit more in the legend, but he was a lot. This car seems to suit his driving style really, really good, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. But I feel pretty good. I think we got a good car. We're sitting on the pole, and I think we'll have a good shot at it.
I believe so far it is $185 for you tonight. Plus, we have tomorrow. Who do you have to thank for these performances so far this weekend in the eClassic?
I'd like to thank Everett's Auto Parts, Bernier's Liquors, Modern Auto Body, Coastal Heritage Bank, RKM Setup Shop, you guys up in the booth, Parker and all my other guys testing with me to get this car really, really good. Tyler Payne at Elite Performance Industries, great event. But all in all, it's been a good night, and can't thank everyone that's helped us enough.
Ryan Kuhn brings it home in second place here in the limited late models. Congrats on the finish, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
And now we will round out our podium. Joe Peaks caught up with Kendrick Cryer.
Indeed, a second and a third adds up to $110, Kendrick. But I'm curious whether missing out on the win in both races has left you feeling disappointed, or does a Benjamin kind of soak up tears pretty well?
Oh, no, I'm really happy with this result. I mean, look who beat me. Ryan Kuhn and Parker Retzlaff. Them guys have been right on the sim for a long time. Retzlaff, obviously a pro in the eNASCAR circuit, and Kuhn has been on top of the board in the short track side for years, and I'm really happy. I mean, I'm right there with him. Well, just a little bit more I needed. I'm kind of upset that I hit the wall there early on. That made it feel like I had a shot to win if I didn't do that, but oh well, it's racing. We'll take third and a second tonight. Definitely really happy about that.
Yeah, I think you should be happy. That was some impressive driving that you displayed. But you've still got one more coming up tomorrow night, and obviously this is going to be a little bit closer to those super lates than what these cars were to the Legends. Do you feel like you picked up anything up that'll help you out come Sunday night?
I'm not sure because I'm not running Sunday night, unfortunately.
Ah.
Got family stuff going on, but if I would have ran, yeah, definitely. I think it would have been fun running that for sure. But we'll leave it up to the boys and the boys at MLS, see what Brinson and Petey can do.
Well, sad we won't get to see you. Still, like I said, over $100 to buy yourself a nice, I guess, Christmas gift on Black Friday. So congratulations.
Thank you.
As Kendrick Cryer taking home the third place finish here in the limited late models. And well, what a fantastic run we had with these two races. And I got to say, Devin, I enjoyed both of them. Yeah, we had a few cautions in the Legends, but they both gave us quite a bit of excitement.
Yeah, some really good races there for those money spots, for those top fives, and for the wins as well. And of course, like I said when we started this, it kind of gives you that real grassroots feel of when you have these big events at your local home track and you have different classes of cars racing for that big money and guys running double duty. You know, it kind of gives off that same vibe. And so excited to come back tomorrow and watch everyone race for the big show in the super late models here at Southern National. Good old short track racing, and we saw a lot of attributes of good old short track racing here tonight in these first two races.
I agree. And man, I can't wait for tomorrow night because even more powerful cars. We're going even quicker around this track, and that should provide even more excitement as we get ready for the last of our Thanksgiving eClassic. I think that's going to wrap us up tonight. So, of course, we want to thank you both, Elite Performance Industries and Team 126 Racing, for help making this possible. Also, a big thank you to Tyler Payne at Elite Performance Industries, and a huge thanks to our team tonight, Devin, Ryan, Cameron, and Dougie. Also, none of this is possible without those behind the scenes at Podium Esports, Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of Elite Performance Industries Thanksgiving eClassic presented by Team 126 Racing. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.